All right, so someone asked me recently to explain to them how well plumbing works and how you get pressure because you're not in city water and you don't get charged for it. So it's free water except for the electricity that you have to spend to use it. But so I'm going to do a little bit of a walkthrough on it. I'm not the best at it, but I can give you some sort of an idea. So that's your bladder tank. In here, there's a diaphragm that goes halfway. And on top of it, you see that gray box? That's called your pressure switch. Standard pressure switches are 60-40 or 40-60, and they do have a 20-40. And then that's your cut on, cut off, which means that when pressure builds up into this tank, it cuts off at 60, and then when it goes back down to 40, it kicks on. In this tank, most tanks will come set to about 38 psi on it, and what they'll do is they'll be set for 60-40 switches. This customer wanted more pressure to feed all that. So what I did is I installed a 50-70 switch on top, and then I pumped up the diaphragm inside to 48 psi instead of 40. So instead of 38, you're supposed to be 2 pounds below pressure. So now the tank is balanced to that switch. All right. So this is how it works. You got your line load coming in from your panel. Okay, 240. All right. It goes to there. Goes to your pressure switch, and your pressure switch gives power to your well, which is over there. This is actually a shallow well. Not a shallow well, but it's only 150 feet. So it's not as deep as, it's a deep well, but it's not as deep as 250 feet or 300-foot wells. So this is a deep well. Now, on shallow wells, you're going to have a whole other setup with your motor and your pump sitting on top of your tank, but we're not doing that right now. So this is a deep well system. So what's going to happen is, if I'm going to turn on the bathtub, watch this. So there's your switch. All right, so you see at 50 pounds, it kicked on because we just dropped down to 50 pounds because we're using water in the house. And if you watch it very slowly, that diaphragm is going to be pushing that bladder inside your system right here up to 70. All right, so we're at 60 now. And once it gets around 70, that gray tank on the top left is going to shut off. Watch it not. Right there, 70 on the dot. Damn, I'm good. All right, so basically, you got a check valve here, you got a check valve down in the ground, you got a pump, and then when that hits 70, that pressure switch says a pump in the ground 250 feet down, shut off, and it stops pumping water from the well. So it's all a balanced system. So yeah, that's how it pretty much works. Basically, it's a seesaw system, and as you get low pressure at 50, it kicks on, it tells the pump to kick on, and when it gets to 70, it tells the pump to shut off. So that's how the bladder tanks work. And then since I did put a 50-70 switch in, I replaced the relief valve with a 100-pound relief valve instead of a 75, so it wouldn't blow if that switch would just go above it. And then I always like to put a Union T in the back so that if that tank goes out, it's a quick swap out. So that's how deep well tanks work. Now there are shallow well tanks, which I can go over in my house. But that's it pretty much. Thanks for watching.